My name is Kiara and I run the small business Hoobinu with my husband David. We've been running our business for almost 14 years now, and what started out really as a hobby from home grew into a six-figure business that employed 5 staff. If you've been watching our channel for a while, you'll have seen that our company has shrunk back down to being just David and myself, and that we've moved the business back home. We've effectively come full circle. I have actually pivoted my business a number of times, sometimes successfully and sometimes unsuccessfully, and I'm going to talk to you about that in this video and share the advice that I have learned over the last almost 14 years. If your business has been running for a number of years, then pivoting could be essential to your small business survival. So let's talk about why you should pivot your business. If your business has been running for a while, then it's quite possible that the industry that you'll run your business in will have changed over the course of that time. Our business is a retail company within the pet industry sector. In the time that we've been running our business, we have seen so many ups and downs within the retail industry. We've gone from extreme highs and record-breaking turnover to extreme lows and financial stress and worry. We've also seen our customer buying habits change over the years, and we've had to adapt our product offering to meet those customer needs. A great example of this is at the moment in 2026. I feel that the buying landscape for retail has changed dramatically because of environmental consciousness. There is a huge movement against buying less superficial items and generally consuming less product. I think people are choosing to spend their money on experiences such as meals out, drinks with friends, days out with the family or holidays, and they're spending less money on physical products. I think due to the financial burden and situation that a lot of people find themselves in, gifting has taken a hit as people choose to not buy gifts for their loved ones and spend time with them instead, or use things like Secret Santa within their families so that they're only having to buy one gift instead of lots of gifts. I think the reason why our business has survived as long as it has is because our product is something that's actually required. We sell pet tags with dog illustrations on them, and a pet tag is a legal requirement in the UK. And obviously you can choose from any number of different pet tags, you don't have to purchase one of ours, but it is something that people actually need and it is required if they have a dog. So I think that has definitely helped us in terms of people still buying with us despite this movement of consuming less. Pivoting is also a really great way to keep you engaged and interested in your small business and excited about coming to work every day. Because let's face it, if you've been in business for a while, you're probably not the same person that you were when you initially started your business. Your personal circumstances may have changed, your long-term goals may be different, your financial goals may be different, and you would have changed as a person as well. How? How do you pivot your business? I think that really depends on what industry you are in. So for us, retail, or whether you are moving to a different industry or sector. So service-based, for example. One example of pivoting could be if you are a graphic designer like me and you currently produce products with your own designs. You may decide that you want to offer your designs as digital downloads, which people can purchase through marketplaces such as Creative Market or Etsy. They can then use your designs to put on products via print on demand or themselves at home, and they can sell those products to consumers, allowing people to have either a personal license or a commercial license. It could be designs that they might want to use for journaling or scrapbooking or to create cards or gifts for their family. You could also pitch your designs to a licensing agency so that they can sell your artwork for you, and they could be mass manufactured for more mainstream companies like Next or Debenhams, for example. You may decide to offer your services to other people that do not have the same skill set as you, that need logo design or branding and services that other graphic designers can offer. That's just one example based on the industry that I know particularly well, but whichever industry or sector you are in, you will know other ways that you could potentially monetize your skills and the knowledge that you have. There are always ways that you could move from being product-based to service-based, or from service-based to product-based, depending on what fits your circumstances. If you're in the retail space like us, then you may choose to change your product offering, or you may want to offer a new range of products to appeal to new customers, or you may decide to niche down to a very specific customer base, which can be quite lucrative if you can really tap into that customer base. So when I first started my business back in 2012, we didn't sell pet tags. We sold acrylic character-based jewellery. I had had this idea to create some jewellery. I had had this idea to create some jewelry and I wanted them all to be characters. And I had this world called Hoobinoo World where all the characters lived. And every character had a little story. And each piece of jewelry came with a little story on the back about that character and their sort of likes and dislikes. And the purpose of the jewelry was for it to be bright, colourful, and it was supposed to be aimed at adults, people like me who love to wear bright, quirky, colourful clothes. Now, when I brought these products to the mainstream and applied for places like Not on the High Street, they very much saw this jewellery as children's jewellery, which was not really my initial intention. And when I pitched our products to Liberties in London and they ended up placing a large order, they again put this jewellery in the children's section. Now, I admit that when I started back in 2012, it was very much on a hobby scale. I just had my daughter, she was a newborn, and I had no real idea what I was doing, but I was hoping that I could build something that would allow me to be able to work at home and be around my kids. Now, the company did okay, and we certainly had enough orders to get us off the ground. But about 2 years in was when our first big pivot happened, when I decided to launch the pet tag. So this was actually an idea that I stumbled upon accidentally. I wanted our dog to have a cute, quirky, colourful pet tag, much like, the things that I liked. And I just couldn't find what I was looking for. So I created a pet tag for him using one of the illustrations that I'd used to create the acrylic jewellery. And we got so many compliments while we were out walking him with people saying, "Oh my God, that's so cute. I've never seen anything like that. Where did you get it?" And I thought, oh, okay, maybe this is a really good idea. Maybe people will really like this. And at the time, there was nothing else like that out there. So that was our first real pivot. I added the pet tags to Not on the High Street into our website, and the sales started to grow. And then from there, we added more pet products. We added Christmas decorations, stockings, sacks, all of those like mugs, gifts for pet owners, and it really grew from there. We did carry on with the jewelry for a while, but it became very obvious that the best-selling product was the pet tag. So after a while, we made the decision to phase out the jewelry. We changed our company name to Hoobinoo instead of Hoobinoo World, and we stopped selling the jewelry. And we became a pet brand from that moment onwards, really. And that was our very successful pivot of our business. The second time we pivoted the business was very recent. It was within the last year, and you can actually watch that journey if you go back and watch some of our previous YouTube videos. So after 10 years of being in the pet sector, and after losing our dog, Jake, I decided that we would try to pivot into stationery. And stationery is something I've always loved, that I'm very passionate about. And again, I wanted to lean into that Japanese influence and I wanted to stock Japanese stationery. It's really good quality, it's quite unique. It's not necessarily easy to find. So I thought that would be a good niche to start with. And I was reluctant to create stationery with my own designs because that would have meant investing a lot of money into one particular design, say notebooks or pads or something like that, or journals, and not knowing whether or not they would sell. So we ordered in a load of stationery and we attended a massive stationery event to really kind of test the idea out and see what would happen. And we did sell quite a lot of the stationery, and we had some products that we sold quite successfully. But one of the main issues with reselling products is that your margins are a lot smaller because obviously the person you're buying from is having to make a profit, and you're stocking items that are readily available everywhere else. And so all we could really offer was sort of a curated selection of stationery. And one of the other issues we had is that perhaps if I didn't judge it well and it was stationery that people didn't want to buy, we're then left with a lot of stock on the shelf that is just money sitting there. And then obviously I've got to sell that stuff off cheaper and we're pretty much making a loss. So they were the sort of downsides. And also it's marketing to a different customer as well, completely different customer, because I've got a pet business and I've got pet products on the website and then I've got stationery, and it's an entirely different business. So I think that was definitely a less successful pivot, and we will be phasing out the stationery just because I realized that I kind of leapt into it as oh, this is something I'm passionate about. and I didn't put my business head on and kind of think about it a little bit more before I leapt into it. I think I was so desperate to feel connected to my business again that I sort of jumped in without really thinking about it. Or maybe I kind of hoped that it would take off and that it would work, but I think the real test was stationery first and having the products there, realizing that other people had the same products as well, and that I probably, if I'd have been able to, I should have lent more into my own designs, like the guinea pig designs and things like that, and had those items there. So that was definitely a learning curve. And obviously, it doesn't always work when you pivot, which is one of the reasons why I think you have to approach it with a lot of thought and consideration. One of the good things about the pet tags and the sublimation products is that if we create a new design and that design is not successful, then we can just create a new design, a different design, because we're just using one base product, the pet tag or a mug or a decoration or a coaster, and then we're applying lots of different designs to it. So if the design doesn't really strike a chord with people, we can launch a new design, and we'll have some designs that are very popular and some designs that are less popular. But because we are literally buying one base product, it means that we can buy in bulk, we can get discounts and things like that, whereas we can't afford to do that when we're buying smaller packs of items, so like packs of notebooks, things like that. This is why I think that your why for pivoting the business is really important, and you really need to think about what it is that you want to achieve by pivoting your business. I do think it is important for a business's success for you to be passionate about what you do, and I am definitely passionate about business. I love having a business and running a business, and I'm very interested in the dynamics of what works and what doesn't, and why customers respond to certain things and why they don't, and customer psychology. I find that very interesting. But as I said, obviously, that disconnect with my product has definitely caused me some issues in the last couple of years. So if you can evolve your business and pivot your business into a slightly different area that you are still really passionate about or have a lot of knowledge about, then that is definitely going to help you on your business journey. It means obviously that you're going to be more interested in the product that you're promoting, you're going to connect with your customers in a more genuine way, and they are going to understand that you have that knowledge and that passion for your business as well. So those are just some of the reasons to pivot your business, and I would say make sure you sit down and take the time to research, look at who your customer is, how you're going to market to that customer, and what it is that you are offering them that is unique from your competitors. It doesn't just have to be about the product or the service that you are offering them. What you could be offering is fantastic customer service or a sense of community. So when should you pivot your business? I think probably a really good time to pivot your business is perhaps when you are sensing a shift in the marketplace, or when you are losing enthusiasm for your business and you need to feel excited about it again. Perhaps you've noticed a decline in sales or a shift in consumer behavior. What I would say is my number one piece of advice is always trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, then don't do it. And if you've got an inkling that that's the direction that you should take, and in your gut you feel it's the right choice, go for it. When I pivoted the business originally from jewelry to pets, I knew that the company wasn't really growing in the way that I had hoped that it would, and that something needed to change. Where the companies we were working with were marketing to children, and that wasn't where I felt our audience was, it just wasn't gelling and it wasn't growing. We'd even used a company for PR to get our products into magazines, and one of our necklaces was even featured in a really prominent TV ad campaign. But it wasn't enough to grow the company because I just don't think that the demand was there for the product that I was offering. And then when I had the idea for the pet tag and saw the potential market that was there and the interest there was in the product, that's when I thought, okay, this is time for us to shift to doing something different. Obviously, the second time we pivoted the business, it wasn't as successful. And as I've mentioned, I think that was more about me leading with my heart and not my head. We are in the process of planning a new pivot for 2026. And I think this time it will be a mixture of what I have learned from when we successfully pivoted the business and when we unsuccessfully pivoted the business. And I'm hoping that now this new phase of our business journey will help us navigate through this fast changing consumer behavior that we're seeing at the moment. Our industry has changed a lot in the last few years. Yes, we do make pet tags. We create those pet tags with our own designs. We also manufacture everything in-house. So we design the tags, we print the tags, and we ship them. And we also have a very large laser cutting machine, which we use to cut out our decorations and to engrave onto our tags and to tooth boxes. Laser cutters are a lot more accessible now, and the price point of lasers have come down massively, meaning that a lot more small businesses can afford to buy them. When we originally bought our laser cutter just after the pandemic, it was about £25,000, which makes it not necessarily attainable for a lot of small business owners. And one of the benefits that we have with that laser is that it has a very large bed of about 70 centimeters by 40 centimeters, so we can cut quite large items on it. And it's extremely powerful, which means that we can cut things out very quickly compared to some of the other more sort of like at home models that you can see. So this year, what I would really love to do is focus on more business to business products. And I hope that that will help us tap into a new customer and a new marketplace. We do already offer dropshipping services for other pet companies where we will print their own designs onto pet tags and ship them directly to customers. And that has been brilliant for us over the last few years. And now moving into 2026, I would love to expand on the acrylic signs that we've been making, because I've been really enjoying that. And it's great to work with other small businesses. And I'd like to be able to offer other services to small businesses, perhaps signage for when they do markets, logo signs like the ones we've produced. We could also look at what kind of acrylic signs we could make for consumers as well, just to be able to offer a wide and diverse product range. And I do want to still continue, obviously, to work within the pet market. And I think utilizing our laser more, we can create other gift items for pet owners as well. I'm hoping with this new pivot, it will help me to feel engaged with the business again. And I think this time I need to make sure that I sit down and plan this pivot really well, where I think about who is the customer that I'm going to be reaching and how am I going to be reaching them. And the other thing is, similar to the sublimation products, I can buy acrylic in all the colours that I need, and that acrylic can be used for many different purposes. So it's not like I'm buying specific products as I was with the stationery and then waiting to sell it. I'm once again buying base material products which can then be turned into whatever is needed. And this could involve things like cutting out wooden shapes for small businesses that they may then want to paint onto or resell, things like that. But I do feel that our big pivot for 2026 is going to be a lot more business to business sales. I hope that you found this video helpful. And if you are thinking of pivoting your business, or if you have pivoted your business, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Please do let me know what's worked for you in the past, what hasn't worked, and how you might feel about pivoting your business. It's been a very tricky landscape for small businesses in the last couple of years. And because we have been in business for such a long time, we've really seen those kind of like peaks and troughs. And obviously, a lot of small businesses suffered during the pandemic, and a lot of people went out of business. Because we were an online business, the opposite was the case for us, and our business really grew. And I think now we are obviously seeing the drop as people are moving away from consumer based items. So now it's up to me to try to figure out how I can adapt my business to be able to navigate this change in consumer behavior. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. We have a lot of studio vlog content on here, which is sort of behind the scenes of us working in our small business. You can go right the way back to December of last year, and you can track our journey as we left our industrial unit and moved the business back home. And then I often record videos like these where I'm sharing the sort of like tips and tricks and just knowledge that I've learned over the last 14 years of being in business. We're also very honest and open with what it is like for us to run a small business as a husband and wife team, and we're very open about our figures and the money that we make and what has worked for us and what has not, because really what I'm hoping to do with this channel is to build a community of small business owners where we can all support and help each other out. Because being a small business owner is often very, very lonely, especially if you work for yourself and you work at home. So that's one of the things that I really want to do, is work on building a community of like-minded people. So you can join our Patreon, where we have a private Instagram chat, and it's a wonderful place, really lovely people in there, not a massive group, but it means that when somebody's got a problem, or if they just want to vent, or if they want to share a win, we're all there to kind of like cheer everybody on, which is lovely. And then we also have a membership with this YouTube, where you can see the podcast episodes with my husband and I, where we talk sometimes about a little bit more in depth, and I don't know, maybe more personal stuff, if that makes sense. So anyway, thank you very much again for watching, and I hope this has been really helpful. There is a huge movement against. No. There is a huge movement about. Oh my God! Say it again.